All right, if we can all find a seat, we're about to start our journey together today. How's everybody doing? All right. So my name is Casey Carpenter. I'd like to officially welcome you to the February chapter meeting of the National Speakers Association, New York City chapter. And who here is a guest today for the first time? Oh, wow. Nice. Welcome guests. Who here brought a guest today or invited a guest? Yay! All right. Thank you for doing that, because that's what keeps our energy high, and that's what keeps the chapter growing, as we all know. So today is a special meeting. I mean, they really are all special, but it's special to me because we're going to be celebrating a group of very significant individuals today. And I would like to introduce myself not only as Casey Carpenter, but also as the Dean of our Speaker University program. Thank you for that. And back there in the back is Melanie Fox, who is our Assistant Dean. And together, we just completed a 5-month program. We took a curriculum and we took some adult learners who wanted to grow their speaking business, and we got them through that program. And today is a celebration. Today is their graduation, and we are all very proud of them and also very excited for them. So my question to you, or a reflection really, has anyone here ever had a graduation or been to one? Yes? Okay. So what was the general mood in that graduation? Go ahead. You can shout out one word. If you go any more than that, I'm going to shut you down because we got to keep it moving. Celebratory. Yes. What else? Say again? It was mayhem. Okay. How about somebody over here? What was the mood? It was joyous. Yes. It was emotional. Bittersweet. Yes. So it was long. Yeah. So the thing about a graduation, and it's almost a little bit of a paradox, they call it commencement, don't they? Why is it called commencement? It is the beginning. And today we're going to be celebrating our graduates at the beginning of their speaking journeys. So again, we're very proud of them. Give them a round of applause. Yes, they deserve it. And if you are a Speaker University graduate from another cohort, would you please raise your hand? Yeah. Congratulations. There's quite a few of you here, so you very well know what that feels like on your graduation day. Carol Ann, I see you bouncing with energy. Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about this special class. They dug in. So as I said, I'm the dean. I'm responsible for curriculum development, making sure that we've got the right guest speakers in the room, making sure that the speakers are speaking appropriately and giving our students what they need for the level where they are. And then we had Melanie Fox, who is awesome at, I like to call her the professor of presentations. She's a whiz at giving feedback. So yeah, give Mel a hand. So together we made a really awesome team. And let me give you an idea of some of the things that our speaker students learned. Would you like to know what they learned? Yeah. All right, you promise you won't be jealous? Okay, so they got to nail their one sentence. What is a one sentence? It is talking about what you do, who you serve, and your value in just one sentence so that you're impactful, you're getting to the point. They also had from Robin Hatcher presence and stagecraft. So they learned to move about the room purposefully, using their voice, using gestures. Also, I taught sales strategies in terms of storytelling. I call it story selling. Keynoting was also a special guest lecturer that we had. And getting strategies for speaking that involved Linda Hollander, a sponsorship. So before I call them up to receive their certificates, I would like to, wait a minute. That's not yet. Wait a minute, that's not yet. That's not yet.
Touch ID.
There'll be peaks and valleys in your speaking career.
Hang on, folks.
Do you want me to just go?
Yeah, Kate. Hi, I'm Kate.
Now is when I get to talk. We have another NSA current president in the room from Minnesota visiting us. Jasmine, welcome. In addition to being the Minnesota president, she's also one of my favorite people, so you should get to know her because she's pretty fab. Valentine's Day tomorrow, folks. If you didn't guess, if you forgot, I'm here to remind you. Earlier this month, I put a post in our private Facebook group for our members only, and I said, if you need something to do, go ahead onto LinkedIn or into somebody's podcast or onto their Amazon book page and leave them a review or a recommendation. And that's my challenge to everybody in the room today. This month, we're going to spread the love. We have a couple of weeks left. I want you to find at least 3 people in your community, they don't need to be NSA members, that's just in your community, that you would like to support, and find a way to either write a review on their podcast, write a review of their book on Amazon, or send them a LinkedIn recommendation. Why? Because it's nice, because it's karma, because it's goodwill, and because it helps them get seen. The more they get seen and get hired, guess what happens to you? The more you get seen and get hired. This is a really easy, no-cost, minimal time way for you to support your fellow members, for you to support your friends, and spread the love. When somebody sees a recommendation come in, what do you think they feel like? How did it feel?
Amazing.
Right?
Absolutely amazing.
You open your LinkedIn and you're like, okay, recommendation. And you have to love it. Part of being in this room with these people, for those of you who don't know, my name is Kate Donovan and I'm the current president of the New York City chapter. And if you don't know, then you should have already, just kidding. JK. But one of the reasons that we get together and one of the reasons that we do this consistently and you see the same 50, 60, 70 people in this room is because we're here to support each other, is because speakers get speakers gigs. One of my mother's favorite sayings in the world, every time she makes eggs in the morning and she cracks an egg and a little shell falls in, she says, egg begets egg, and she uses the shell to pull the other shell out. Speakers gigs beget speakers gigs. The more one of us works, the more all of us works. I do my math every year for how much money I have gotten other members of the chapter. Last year was $55K. Right? That's not any money in my pocket, but that's $55,000 extra that ended up in this room because of connections that I had. So think about if all of us did 10K for somebody else in this room, what would happen? Think about what happens if we finish a session and the person says, hey, could you help me find a speaker for next year? You say, yes, I can, and you send them a list of 3 of your fellow New York City or Minnesota fellow members. We have to do this together. There is literally no other way. So my ask for you this month is to get together, to spread the love, to share the recommendations, to write the reviews. And please, when you do it, brag that you did it in the Facebook group so that we can keep the energy going. And as for that, if you would like to start that off with some of our Speaker U graduates, you'll learn their names right now? Or is there something else first?
No, there is nothing else.
You will learn their names right now.
Yes. Thank you, Kate.
Am I staying up here?
You can, if you want.
So just so that everyone knows, here's our agenda for today. We just heard from Kate. After we do our Speaker University celebration graduation, we're going to hear from our special guest speaker today, Elizabeth McCormick. Networking break, we'll bring Elizabeth back up, and then we'll give you some idea as to the special programming this chapter offers, because frankly, this chapter rocks. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, then we get together, we socialize. All right, so we just heard from Kate. And now, let's go ahead and welcome up our speakers. I'm going to call the names in alphabetical order, and I'm going to call them all. Some could not be with us today, but we still believe that they deserve the recognition because they all worked very hard. All right, so Rebecca Barr is our first. She's not here. Oh, come.
Yeah, John,
Okay.
John is giving us directions.
Okay. Zakia Ghaffari. Glenn Gordon. Come on up, Glenn. Yay! Congratulations, graduate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kate. Appreciate it.
Okay, Payal Mehta. Sharon Padwa. Come on up, Sharon. Yay! Yay! Congratulations. Stephanie Pinsley. Yay! Congratulations, Stephanie. Karen Rubenstein. Come on up, Karen.
It's a deeper bow. Thank you, dear.
Carol Ann Valentino, come on up. So, mwah.
You want to over here? Yeah. Okay.
So this group of individuals is so impressive. They worked so hard. Again, some of the topics that they had, the one sheet, they had to learn stagecraft, and we also want to make sure that we thank our mentors who helped get us through this process. Robin Hatcher, Kate Donovan, Melanie Fox. We cannot conduct Speaker University without you. This takes a village, and so we thank you.
Yes.
Do we, any more photo? You want us to do it right now? Later. Oh, at the break. So at the break, we're going to get by the step and repeat, you all. So don't leave. All right. Don't leave. So. All right. So Elizabeth, do we play that first? Or do I read first? All right. So it is my pleasure, my delight, to welcome Elizabeth McCormick. And Elizabeth McCormick's keynote speaking career has rocketed since she started motivational speaking full-time in 2010, averaging over 100 paid speaking engagements per year. Do you all know how incredible that is? Although she is represented by 19 speaker bureaus now, more than 70% of her bookings come through organic audience referrals, ding, 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 online search, and AI. Now, each of you should have a handout that I very carefully placed on your seats. If you would reference that now so that you'll be able to follow along with us a little later. The handout in front of you has two parts. The left side is the note-taking part for what Elizabeth presents, so you'll be able to follow along. The right side is the observations box for you to take notes of the techniques, any strategies that you observe, what you might like to integrate into your own presentation. And you know what, y'all? There are prizes. Oh. All right. To start the first half of her training, Amplify Your Speech, where Elizabeth will deconstruct parts of her presentation, I'm going to read Elizabeth's introduction. So in other words, you're going to learn how she constructs such a winning presentation. All right. So I'm reading this exactly as if she's coming into a large event and you are in the audience. All right, everybody got it? You know who you are? Awesome. Imagine that you are in the audience of a convention center or a larger ballroom. Oh, wait, I've got to get ready for this introduction. Hang on. Our keynote speaker is an author with more than 20 published books on entrepreneurship and leadership topics. Just last week, she was named number 11 of the top 30 motivational speakers in the world. Yes, by Global Gurus. In 2011, Elizabeth McCormick was awarded the U.S. Congressional Veteran Commendation. Now, did you know this? As a decorated U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter pilot, Elizabeth flew command and control, air assault, rappelling, and top secret intelligence missions, and also transported high-level government VIPs, including the Secretary of Defense. She is here to teach us how to fly. So please hold your applause as we see these missions, Elizabeth and the awe-inspiring Black Hawk in action.
Idea.
Can you handle the truth?
So here's the deal. I require maximum participation. So let's try that again. Can you handle the truth? Yes! Because the truth is, I almost failed flight school. But before I tell you about flight school, I need to tell you how I got there. Would that be okay? Yes! And along the way, I'm going to share with you the lessons that I learned that serve me in life, serve me in business, and can help you too. Sound good to you? Yes! All right then, let's get started. Pause. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to do little bits and pieces of my keynote, one maybe a little longer than a bit of the keynote, and then we're going to break down and deconstruct the strategies, the techniques, and the different things that I have built into this keynote. Because if it wasn't strategic, if it wasn't business building, it would be public speaking, not professional speaking, okay? So what's the difference, right? Is all that strategy and business that's built in it and behind it. So we're gonna break that down. Now here's the deal. I don't wanna do all the work. So this is called Amplify Your Speech. So instead of me doing all the work, you're going to have opportunities to earn one of my books. Would that, yeah, ooh, anyone like my favorite four-letter word, free? Who else likes free? Yes, right? So I am going to give you a book when you ask a question or you comment about something that you saw that you want to do. Now, don't worry, there's going to be opportunities in the first half and the second half. Everybody's going to have an opportunity. I've got plenty of books. Now, it used to be I would just give one book because that's what I had, but now I have two. So you're going to actually get you to choose. So I'm going to give you a little slip of paper, and you'll get to choose between Bookability Factor, which was my first book about becoming a keynote speaker, 67 tips to getting booked and paid as a keynote speaker, right? Everything I wish I'd known when I first started. Or the second book, Credibility Factor, which just came out in October. And that one's more about thought leadership. That's a little bit more advanced book. It also has, out of the 77 tips, it has 60 AI prompts to help you increase your thought leadership and your credibility. Pretty cool? Yes. Now, there are a few people in this room that I know for a fact have both books already. So if that's the case, if you're one of those that's already, you bought it online or when my book launched or anything, that's great. And I don't want you to feel left out. So you could also choose, or if you'd prefer, you may choose my Pilot Method book that has the stories of what I tell on stage. Fair? Fair? All right, then let's get started. Okay. This is the slide that would be up after I did that first part. This is the introduction. So we're in that first part of that left side of the handout, the introduction part. What did you see? So it's y'all's turn. Like I've got a slide, I can tell you what I saw. What did you all see? Right. Did I set an expectation of the audience? I will tell you, do most audiences know how to be an audience? Right? And they're like, right? You have to teach them. Part of our job as a professional speaker is to command the energy of the room. And setting that expectation right up front that I require maximum participation, like it shifts the energy, doesn't it? Did you feel a difference? Did you start okay, I better do a little bit more than I was planning on doing, right? I spoke yesterday for an aviation organization that was almost all engineers, right? Tough crowd. First time they've ever hired an outside speaker. Tough crowd. First time they've ever had a female speaker. Tough crowd, right? But by the end, I got them. They were involved. They were calling me. They were answering back to me, and it became more of a conversation than a talking head up here, right? So here's a little slip. You're going to get to turn in yours. Who's next? Coming over to you.
Say vulnerability.
Vulnerability. And for the video, I'm going to repeat some of your answer back and questions. So vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Toward the opening, there was the piece about I almost failed flight school. In a way, you're signaling to the audience that it is okay for them to be vulnerable because you are showing that you are willing to be vulnerable in front of the entire room.
Let me ask you this. When Casey read the long introduction, right, not the first part that was just for y'all, but when she read the actual introduction that gets read, did anyone feel intimidated? Right? We're like, oh, that's impressive. Maybe impressive. Right, credentials, but maybe it was like, ooh, that's impressive. What am I going to learn from her? How am I going to do this, right? That's what I experienced when I first started. Everybody was like, oh, geez, how am I going to relate to her? And I realized I had a problem. Great credentials, great story is great. Not if it doesn't relate to the audience. Not if they can't find a way to relate through your story, right? So I had to find a way to break that barrier of intimidation that some of them were feeling from the beginning. So that's why that's very deliberately constructed. I almost failed flight school because it immediately makes me more relatable. Did anyone else feel that? Like, oh, okay, there's something here, right? Very good, great question. Coming to this side, and then I'll come back around. I'm coming to the back here. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
All right. No, thank you. I hold it.
Okay, great. I loved the video. I loved that you took control of the room because so often we have some executive that introduce us and you're like, just read it. And then they don't just read it. And I thought it was really nice. And also, I felt like a lot of people know what a Black Hawk is, but you really set the tone so that everyone was on the same page before you started.
How many of you had no idea what kind of missions a Black Hawk does? Or even what it looked like, right? Normal. Like, how can you equalize that? And how can you speed their learning curve so I can get right to the meat, the material, the content, right, that they want? So you got to think about that. And then the introduction, you need to have an introduction script because it might be that executive, or like yesterday, I had a sponsor reading my script. And then beforehand, even though it says at the top, Casey, what does my introduction say at the top? Okay, read exactly. He's like, I have it memorized. Y'all, he had it memorized until he was in front of 300 people. And then he got nervous and he messed it up badly, like really bad. Like instead of flew the Secretary of Defense, I flew for the Department of Defense. Messed it up badly. So because of those experiences, though, that's why I have an introduction video. Now, mind you, I didn't add an introduction video until I was about 9 years in, right? I'm 16 years full-time, 20 years total, because I did part-time while I worked a corporate job for 4 years first. Okay, so 9 years in is when I added that video. That's not a beginner move, okay? But I added that in because I needed to control, what's our number one job? We command and control the energy of the room for the audience and their experience. So, good one, Nathan. Over here. Hello, excuse me. Oh, I hope.
You had to say yes multiple times, so you got our buy-in immediately.
That's right. Buy-in immediately. Yes, multiple times. Again, did I teach you how to be an audience? Did I teach you that you're going to be calling back and talking back to me throughout the presentation on prompt? Yeah, right? Great one, Stephanie. Thank you. All right, you, and then I'm coming over here. Hi, Shelby.
Hi. I loved the way that you, in your introduction, had your accolades and your social proof kind of up front, because you being a Black Hawk pilot is, like you said, a little intimidating, but also hearing that you are like top 30 speakers, 11 in like the whole world, and hearing about some of your other awards really puts you as a thought leader right up top. Yeah.
Thank you. Again, intentional. And did I say that? Am I up here saying that? No, it's not me, right? You have your introducer say that. So that way they're building your credibility with the audience. All right. Yes.
So I appreciated and noticed that even before so you had the video, but you yourself started momentum energetically before you even walked through the aisles, which really moves the room energetically. You're not waiting till you get to the front. So that's something that I appreciated.
So I always walk, if they don't have an aisle and I can't walk through and start from the back and walk through, then at the very least I'm going to walk the whole width of the room across from one side to the other. And then typically I have a sound guy, right? If I have a sound guy, if it's a bigger event, they have a sound guy, I'm going to have them, if they start a clapping during the AC/DC Thunderstruck chorus, I have them boost the sound up so it kind of overrides the applause, and I get them clapping in unison like together with the thunder, right? So I create that kind of rapport building shared experience right from the beginning where they're all clapping that music, but it also lifts the energy. So one more and then we'll go to the next module, and don't worry, there's lots of chances. And if you have a question I haven't answered, you can still ask it in the next part. Miss Robin. I'll give you that, but I'm not giving you the mic.
My comment is the fact that you're not giving me the mic. So that is a key, and tell everyone why you're not giving me the mic.
Because who's in charge? Who's in charge? Okay, just speaker is, right? The speaker's in charge. So we control the energy of the room. We control, if I hand the mic over and someone wants to tell a 10-minute story as for the part of the question, don't do that. Don't do that in NSA, okay? Don't do that. Ask the question. If I need more information, I'll ask for more information, right? But you lose the energy, you lose the command. So, all right, couple things I want to bring up. Anyone wanted to comment on my boots? My rhinestone, my brace, I have the whole, nobody commented yet, so I'll bring that up. Very intentional, okay? Very intentional because flying a Black Hawk, being in the military is male-dominated, right? I speak for a lot of male-dominated industries, and I want to subconsciously blow their mind, okay? I need them to think differently, even if it's just from that first impression, right? So I have that very intentionally. This is my old flight suit. I took the leg material of the jumpsuit and made it into a peplum. So I have coverage on a big stage. You go up on those big stages, they can see up. It is not a good look, ladies. It is not a good look. Be careful of where your hemlines are. Okay, on those, especially when you get up on those really tall, Robin, you know what I'm talking about, those really tall stages, know where your Spanx versus skirt ratio is. Seriously, because otherwise that's what they're doing. They're watching that. It's not good, right? So I always wear pants. That's kind of a me thing, mainly because sometimes I'm on those big stages. But I had the peplum created so I'd have coverage, right, but also a little movement with it. I have the bracelets are custom made. So, and I sell them, it's merchandising, right? A little Wonder Woman-ish, right? And then the boots, I'm their Jessica Simpson, I'm gunning for sponsorship. So anytime I do a picture of the boots, I tag Jessica Simpson and Jessica Simpson shoes and all stuff like that. So we're gunning for sponsorship. But again, it's real subtle. I have them in 5 different colors, by the way. So depending on, I have the flight jacket in the olive green is the original OG. I have 3 of the olive green. I have black because I had an event I emceed that was doing a blackout where everybody wore black. So I had a black one made for them. I have royal blue and navy blue as well. So those I bought on eBay. So, but here's the thing. When I first started, I wore the full flight suit. It's hot. It's not made for a woman's body. We'll just leave it there. It didn't look good. Like pictures, not good. So I decided I'm going to make it into a jacket. I found a jacket I liked with the kind of peplum, a little shorter peplum, but a peplum I liked, and I wanted it cut like this, so I took it to a costume designer. The costume designer picked it apart, made it. I said I wanted it longer, spec'd it all out, and then we said it needs some bling. It needs some bling. So it had a metal zipper, and I said, okay, let's just put a row of rhinestones along each side of the zipper, right? So then he comes back to me, this little Russian dude. He comes back to me and says, I hope is okay. I special order zipper from Italy. And all I'm thinking is, what? Ching, 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 right? I don't have the budget for Italy, right? And he brings it out, and the actual teeth of the zipper are the rhinestones. And I'm like, okay, order 2 more for the other ones. So I have multiple ones. They're all cut slightly different. Like this one has square edges on the peplum. This is actually my favorite one. I had this one done recently, and it has elastic. The other 2 don't. So they fit differently and they move differently, right? So things like that. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you to learn from this. How can you take something off the shelf, a jacket you love, something that you love off the shelf, and make it yours? Change the buttons, add ribbon, add trim, add a leather edge to the sleeves. Do something that makes it distinctively yours, so at no point can someone in the audience go, yeah, I have that in my closet. Like, don't do that, right? You're the one in front of the stage. Same thing, gentlemen, this is for you too, right? You know, it might be a custom fabric pocket square. It might be redoing your lapels in a custom fabric that's representative of your brand colors, right? Do something that differentiates you visually from the onset as part of your brand. I like to say small hinges open big doors, okay? Having a visual look that's part of your brand is just as important as having the brand, okay? Pretty cool? Yeah. Permission to move on? Yeah. Oh, my clicker. Nobody mentioned the clicker. Okay. So the clicker, I like a handheld because then I can modulate the sound, and I bring volunteers on stage, and I can, right? I never let go of it, just a point. Thanks, Robin. Right? So, but I can modulate the sound myself, right? I don't have to have a sound guy chasing me. Right? And so because of that, I don't want to hold, energetically, I don't want to hold a clicker in my other hand while this, and then if I set it down and I move a lot, and I'm over here and I need to click, it doesn't work either, right? This ring clicker is $19 on Amazon. $19 on Amazon. It goes forward, it goes back, forward, has a laser pointer. Blackout mode, so when I'm doing the really big stages and I want them to change the IMAG to me, we coordinate I'll put it in blackout mode when I want them to focus the camera on me, right? It also has a play video button, so if you have embedded video, you can play the video from it. $19. You have the choice between an RF version and a Bluetooth version. The RF version has a 150 meter range. So Bluetooth can be spotty, it sometimes can time out. So do the RF version. And oh, by the way, at the afterwards, to send out to everyone that registered or watches the recording or whatever you do, is a resource page, and there's a link to it. Okay? So you're gonna get all that. Yeah, you're gonna get all that. So it's already built. Okay. Now, do I have permission to move on? Yes. All right. Okay, so the 3 things I want to do. Number 1, decide your purpose. What is the purpose of your introduction, right? My purpose of my introduction is to combat the intimidation that they're going to get from the verbally read by the sponsor. You got to have something for them to read, especially when it's a sponsor, right? Between them, what they verbally read, and then you coming on stage. Do you want them laughing? Do you want them thinking? Do you want them, what mood do you want from them before you even get on stage? What do they need to know? Curate your introduction very carefully, right? What do they need to know that you don't want to talk about? I don't want to talk about well, I actually mentioned it once, but I don't want to talk about global gurus. I don't want to talk about all this other stuff, right? I don't want to talk about everything. I want to focus on what's relevant to the stories I tell, okay? So your introduction sets up your opening line, your opening story. Make sure you're being intentional on how you do that, okay? Choose the mood. Do you want them laughing? Do you want them crying? Do you want them thinking? If you want them thinking, ask a thought-provoking question at the end of your introduction. Okay? They might not clap as much, but they're thinking, right? So you get to decide what mood. That you are the producer of your stage when you're on there, when you're hired, when you're brought in, even if you're speaking for free. You are the producer. So think about it from the very beginning, not just from when you walk on stage. What do you want them, how do you want them feeling as you come on? For me, it's that intimidation because I almost failed flight school. I want the contrast. There's energy in that contrast. And 3, you want to seed the next step, right? Seed the next step. So, Casey, what's something I seeded in the introduction script that you read?
Let's see. Hang on.
How many books do I have?
You've got
19. Oh, no, that's the 19 bureau part.
No.
This is the script one.
20 published books.
20 published books, right? I'm selling books at the end of the event, right? If the introduction, again, they're saying it, not me. If the introduction says, oh, 20 books, now they're going, ooh, I might want to get a book after. Let's see how she does, right? But I'm now seeding that next step. If they don't let me sell books, I can pull that out, right? Because I don't want to distract. I want to add to. Right? If I'm pulling that out because they won't, but it's a great audience that might give me referrals, I might put in there, Elizabeth's famous for speaking for some well-known brands that you might have heard of, like Nestle, Coca-Cola, Intuit, Oracle, and do a laundry list of other non-competing companies. So I would do a custom introduction I basically do a custom introduction for most events. So it's not off the shelf. It's tailored in that little piece. Is my default that I get a table to sell books. We actually, at the end, I'm going to talk about an introduction and how you can have the meeting sponsor, the executive help you with that. So what I do is, it's basically 3 things, right? They buy a book for every person. My favorite, I prefer that, right? They buy a book for every person, or I can get a table and sell books, or a lot of times with corporate, they don't let anything, no sales. And I actually have introduction scripts to support all 3 options. So that way they get to, it's based on the conversation. But there's a couple things I do to make that some easier conversations with that. But I typically really try to get them to either buy the book for every person. I help them with a sponsor package. They provide the sponsor, but I have sample sponsor packages on my website. So they can even go to, especially if it's association, they can go to one of their favorite sponsors and try to get them to buy the book. So, things like that. Jasmine.
You mentioned in customizing your introduction,
Mm-hmm.
Other organizations that you've spoken. So when you're speaking at an association, for example, a bankers association, would you list other bankers associations that you've spoken at so they know that you've spoken for their peers?
No, I would not. So the question was for the video, what would you mention if you're mentioning other industries or other places you've spoke? I would go with completely different companies, okay? Or associations, right? So typically if it's an association, I'm gonna list corporations. If it's a corporation, I'm gonna list associations or maybe colleges, right? Because your audience, if you're speaking for a bankers conference, they're gonna assume all you speak for are banking conferences, So you need to teach them that you also speak for other audiences and other types of events or other kinds. Okay, otherwise their assumption is this is all you do. Make sense? All right, helpful so far? Yes. All right. Okay. There we go. Oops. All right. Let's go to the next module. Okay. So the next module, I told you I almost failed flight school, so this would be my opening story, okay, just so you can place. And if you don't know, like, this part's not easy, like flipping in and mode and out of mode and everything, just so you know, this is not what I do every day. So, okay. So I just told you I almost failed flight school, I require maximum participation, and so then I say, let's get started. You see, I was an unemployed military wife. I had just graduated from college with a degree in art, a minor in mathematics, and an associate's degree in engineering. Yeah, don't be impressed, I couldn't get a job. But that was because we were stationed at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Anyone been to Fort Polk, Louisiana? Oh, there's a reason that the people who live there call it Fort Puke. Yeah. Oh, I got a job. Yes. Working in a pizza place. 5 years of college. My parents were not proud, and I was miserable. So one night I looked at my starter husband. Anyone else have a starter spouse? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Starter spouse, yeah. You know, don't laugh too hard. You might still be on yours. Sometimes a starter is a keeper. And then some of us are slow learners. But I looked at him and I thought, if he could be in the Army, why can't I? So I decided to join the Army, and I wanted the coolest job possible. I didn't know what that was. So I went on to the base to ask around. I asked, if you could do anything, what would you do? And if you had to do it over, what would you do differently? And finally I asked, what's the coolest job? Well, after professional speaking, in the Army, what do you think the coolest job is? I'll give you a hint. It's on the slide. Being a pilot. Yeah. I didn't know it was hard. I didn't know the Army had only let women into aviation around 20 years before that. And the Army, and all their cautiousness and prudence, they're only letting women in one at a time. One at a time. One at a time. You know, to see how it worked out. I didn't know that. I just knew that it felt right. So I went out to the flight line to research it some more, and I pulled my car off to the side of a dirty, dusty road, the hot, humid August, Louisiana. You get out of the car in the deep south in the summertime, and it's like this. And I got out of that car, and I walked down a ditch, through knee-high grass, up an embankment, and I got to a chain-link fence that protected the helicopters. And I poked my fingers through and gripped hot gray metal as I looked at the helicopters for the very first time. And I went, yeah! Yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. Have you had those moments in your life, your career, where you're at the right place at the right time, doing the right things? If your boss is in the room, please say yes. Yes. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Where everything just feels right, and you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I had a vision. Have you ever had a vision of the way something could be, even though you have no idea how it's going to happen? I had a vision of myself out on that flight line, Flying those helicopters, wearing a flight suit that could still fit today thanks to Spanx. It could happen. Here's the thing. I didn't have to know how I was going to become a helicopter pilot to believe I could be a helicopter pilot. You see, we believe in ourselves, our abilities, our potential first. We figure out the how along the way. But what happens is, if you don't have the belief in what is possible, opportunities will pass you by. The belief comes first. Everything else follows. And I call that being in your potential zone, because in your comfort zone, you get what you already got, because you're going where you've already been. Business growth happens in a potential zone, not a comfort zone. Pause. Opening story. Y'all see any techniques in there that you might want to do? All right, let's hear from you. I call this the impact open. I'll start here and work this way this time. Hello. I'll come to you next, Ruth. Hi.
So I really liked your choreography. You seemed to know exactly where you were going, when to pause, when to like make a mug, and you let us laugh, and you gave us the time to laugh at your jokes before you started the next thing.
Do not step over your laughs. Do not step over. If that means you have a 45-minute presentation, you practice 40. If you know you got a lot of humor, so you have time to let them savor the laugh, let them pause and let them think. So, very good. Thank you. Hi, Ruth.
Hi. Being comfortable makes us feel comfortable. It's like your domain, you are in your thing, and you've done it many, many times. It shows. So makes us feel comfortable and want to be with you.
Very nice. Does it feel rehearsed, though? Does it feel scripted? No? No? Casey.
I will tell you what I love. I am a clothes horse, okay? And just the whole thinking that I could take something that maybe several people have and tweak it and make it mine so that I really stand out and have people say, ooh, where'd she get that?
I actually have people ask about buying this flight suit. And I'm like, oh, honey, you have to earn this one. You can't buy this one. What about, I want, Casey, while you're in yours, you got yours. What about wearing the flight jacket for the introduction? Anybody notice that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I've never worn a flight jacket. Yeah.
And it says?
You brought me in. I was more than the MC or your introducer at that point. You brought me right into the experience.
How can you include that introducer? What can you do to show it's an experience? I want you to just be thinking about these things, right? That's why you have that observation box. Just be thinking about those things. I'm coming here and I'll come over here. Hi, Pat.
Hi. I really loved how you mixed it up, your vocal variety, your cadence, you sped it up, you slowed it down. And you were so detailed, and you brought us with you. And you can see when you talked about that hot metal on the plane, you could feel it, you could see it, you felt like you were right there. So to me, it was the level of detail that you offered. You brought us in.
So how can you do a better job painting the picture with words, right, in that? Now, I had the slide, so I did have the slide. But even if I didn't have the slide, would you see that? And would you feel that?
Strategically brought on the fence. I noticed that immediately. When you brought up the fence, it was like, ooh, that was just so great with the ring.
Yeah, I didn't used to have the slide of fence. I used to just talk about it, and then I was like, oh, I can do a fence there. Like, that's okay. But it's very kind of generic with the sky in the background and doesn't have a lot of detail on purpose. I want you in a visualization mode for that piece. Okay, Dafina?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. So two things that I noticed. One is that you have a name badge here, and even on the flight jacket, it said the boss, which I thought was really cute. But sometimes I don't remember names really well, but I'm very into your story. And so every time you walk by, I'm looking at the name tag and I'm like, I got it. I think I got it. And I just love the branding of like Black Hawk Pilot. I'm like, what would be my thing? Like, I'm not a Smurf, I'm not a, anything like that. But Black Hawk Pilot is just real boss, and I love it.
It is boss. So, all right. So I don't always wear the jacket. Sometimes the client's like, and other times the client's like, oh my gosh, you have to wear the jacket, right? So I have, in fact, the second half, I'll put on one of the other jackets that I wear with a little bit of camouflage. I'm actually having custom jackets right now that are navy blue, blue on blue brocade camouflage with rhinestone buttons. So those are being made this year. That's one of my things to have done. So, be thinking. All right. Hi, Peggy.
So I love the vulnerability, but I also love the storytelling inside of vulnerability. Because sometimes you hear speakers and they give you a moment of vulnerability and then they get into what you should do. But yours has really continued. You started talking about your trial husband or your starter husband. And I think people are always interested in hearing about the human being behind that. So then when you get to that moment where you say you have to believe, it's like, yeah, I can. She's been through hell and high water, and she still has this belief. So I think the storytelling mixed in with vulnerability and transparency is awesome.
So when I first started speaking, so really 20 years ago is when I first started part-time, but I was doing business speaking and stuff for a company. So when I started speaking with my own story, it was about 16 years ago. I didn't know anything about the industry. I didn't know NSA. I didn't know, right? So what I did is I researched other people who spoke in my space. So for me, that was Waldo Wingman, it was Carrie Lorenz, it was all pilots. So none of them were helicopter pilots, but still they were pilots. And this is what I did. I watched all their video, every single piece of video they had, and with a notepad, and I took notes of the things that they said and made it a do not use list. I respected their space. And then I said, okay, if they say these things, these aviation terms, these phrases, if they say these, what don't they say that I can use? And I use that to help steer and build. So I was respectful of the other people in that space. You need to know, I don't call them competition, right? And we're now friends, right? It's not necessarily competitions, but you need to understand who else is in your space, in your topic, right? Or your industry, whatever that might be. You can niche by topic or niche by industry, right? You need to know and understand who's in that space. What are their key phrases? What trademarks do they hold? Understand all that so that you can come into that space, especially if you're new, you can come into that space in a place of respect, right? And then with that, they'll respect you more. Okay, over here, I'm gonna grab, she's had her hand up. Excuse me, Seth. I'm going to squeak in here. Hello.
Hi. I was going to say something similar. I think your use of humor and the edge of that humor, that's a risk, like being starter husband, but it sets up what I think is coming next, which is you are bold and out of the box in every way. So I just really, it's interesting both using humor and then finding the edge of acceptability. I imagine you've tried that a lot of times to make sure that one lands. It's probably not going in Bible study in my mom's Alabama group.
Well, I will tell you, when I first started, I spoke for, I'll give you I'll spoil the lead up front. I spoke for a Catholic women's conference. Yeah, they didn't like the starter husband line. And it's right in the beginning of the 45, 50-minute speech. So imagine a room of 200 women, and you say starter husband, and the whole room crosses their arms and leans back. They're out. Yeah, it took some work to fight back from that one. So it's all about knowing your audience. To me, I'm not Catholic. I didn't know, So now it's okay, y'all do divorce? Is it good? Am I good to say that? Right? And even now it'd be okay probably with Catholics. But yes, you want to add something?
Just a quick thing. But back to the starter husband. Most of your audience are women, right? And there's a few men, right? But you didn't say starter husband, you said starter spouse. So I like how you brought in the few men in your audience.
Well, men and same sex, right? Same sex marriage too. So yeah, I start with husband because that's my experience. And then I make it inclusive by saying starter spouse. So you're welcome. You're welcome. It's okay. It's okay. You could still be on yours. It's okay. So, hi, sweetie. How are you? Nice to meet you in person.
I loved how grounding your talk is. Because, the minute you came in, you talked about the first failure, and then we'd already heard the introduction. We learn about what is it that you do, then you talk about, like, I think we were all talking about the starter spouse, right? So it just reminds people that you can show up as you are, as who you are. And to me, your talk almost gives people that permission, that life is going to be ebbs and flows, those highs and lows, and bring that into your speaking. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Excellent. I think we have time, one or two more, or are we at break? Oh, you're not, we're, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, let me finish over here, and I'm coming over here, and then we'll do a break before I go into, I've got 3 more modules. We'll do 3 after the break, okay? They'll go a little faster. Here, I'll come to you first. Hi,
Thank you. Hello. My tactical question was, I wanted to know, because I know it's got to be intentional, what is on the slip of paper?
Okay, so full disclosure, y'all are my first chapter event. I only do about 2 chapters a year because my schedule is pretty busy. So you're my first chapter event since my new book, Credibility Factor, came out. So as I was like going through everything and reviewing it again last night, because I spoke yesterday and I spoke 2 days before that and I had a virtual before that. So I went, I really want them to pick. And I knew Kate had already bought Credibility Factor, and so I didn't want to give out Credibility Factor. And some of you want, how do I get started? I'm more like, I need the bookability factor. Eventually, I'll do a 3rd factor in there. I'm not sure what that is yet, but I didn't. So I just made these up, printed them out, so that way you can. And so you basically, it's like a ticket. You turn it in and pick which one you want. That's right. You get the choice. You get the power of choice. All right, over here we got 2. Oh, 3. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so there are 2 things that I loved, and the first one you've been doing from the very beginning. You've been surprising us at every turn, and that has really amped up my curiosity. I have something to learn from this lady, and you've continuously done that throughout your talk. The second thing has even endeared you to everybody more, because everybody you've spoken with, you have validated them by reinforcing what they say and amplifying why it was important. So wonderful.
Am I doing some techniques that you could maybe do in your talk and during your facilitating conversations and things with your audiences? You can. Hi, Amy.
Hello, young lady. I think many things have been said, but I believe that your aspirational energy to all of us sitting here, whether it's business that we want to be speaking or if it's something we want to take home with our family members, it's just aspirational, period, inspiring us to be better, be bigger, no matter what the category is. So you are really appealing to every single person in here, and it really does. It's like an advertisement that pulls you in emotionally.
Let me be really clear. I am a generalist, not a specialist. I am a motivational speaker. Like if they say, and I know, there are people in NSA in the industry that say, you can't be a motivational speaker. My 100 events a year begs to differ. Okay? You can be, right? You just got to have the chops and work at it. So coming to you, I'll come to Jasmine, and I'm coming to the other side. Hi, Stephanie.
So yeah, bringing up the starter husband again, you could have brought up that divorce in a very sort of dramatic way. It could have been very emotional and heartfelt. But what I see that you did is anyone that relates to being divorced now sees that you see them and that you're able to bring levity to something that can be perceived as serious. So you're helping release people's shame and connecting with those people at a deeper level.
So I had some choices because he's pivotal to the story, right? I wouldn't have joined the military if I hadn't been a spouse, if I hadn't been kind of stuck on a base, right? A base that has no jobs. So that wouldn't have happened. So I had to talk about him. And so it's very intentional and strategic, Stephanie. I sat and said, okay, if I call him the ex-husband, it's negative, right? It has a negative feel. If I call him the former husband, they might think that he's passed away, right? Which could be wishful thinking. I'm not sure. I don't want to go there, right? So we're not going there. So, but it just has a different feel, and it leads to questions. And so that's the biggest thing is, do not Close your loops. Do not leave questions unanswered that now they're thinking about that instead of paying attention and listening to what you're doing. So for me, starter was benign. It had no energy, forward plus or minus, right? So it allows me to make it a humor piece and then also be inclusive of those who are currently married, that they might be still be on theirs. So thank you for noticing that. Hello, Miss Jasmine.
Another thing that I think you did that was wonderful that I can't wait to borrow is when you were talking about the coolest job, and the audiences, I know my mind is like, what's the cool job, blah, 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 blah. And especially if you're at a work event and you're like, but your job is the coolest job, especially if your boss is here. So that was like a slap back into the present moment. Very good.
100%, whatever industry I'm at, whatever job they have, and I asked it's part of my pre-event survey, describe what your people do in 2 words. So whatever they say. So I spoke for a cybersecurity event, and so their 2 words were cybersecurity resellers. So after cybersecurity resellers, and then you have to pause because give them a second to let that land, right? You have to pause and be like, and they're like, oh, right? So honor what they do in their field. So super powerful piece. Thanks for pointing that out. 5 minutes. All right, we're good. We're on time. All right, this side, and then I'm going to go into a few learning points that we haven't covered yet. Hi, Karen.
Hi. So you were talking about who's in your space and what not to do, but I wondered what you were looking for on what to do.
I was looking for gaps. So I was looking for gaps. What don't they do? So one thing I noticed is almost all, and that still exists today, is almost all the other pilots who speak, both in NSA and not in NSA, come from a big place of bravado, power. Ooh, push it, do this. You know, be tough, be tougher. And I said, that's not me. What am I? I'm more vulnerable. I've had all these failures. I showed up when it was hard. You're going to hear more of them, and there's more that I don't have time to tell you, right? So I purposely, intentionally chose the vulnerable stories to share, not the success stories, to help, again, be more relatable, but also to make sure I stay different in the market. Okay, see how much strategy? Did y'all think I just stood up in here and you just stand up and speak, right? There's a lot of strategy built in, isn't there? Hi, Glenn. Hello. There you go, your little ticket.
2 things. 1, thanks for your service. And the second thing is your slides. Your slides are crisp. There's no more than 3 things per slide. It's easy to read. It's easy to remember.
Thank you. Thank you. Very intentional with the slide design. So.
I'm Tammy. I am not a speaker, but I do graphics for speakers, and I echo that. I think your slides were on point, they're on brand, and it's not too many of them, but they're all very clear and very intentional, and I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Not much else to say on that one. Okay, what else? You have something you want to point? You can bring something. Hold on. Let me, I'm coming. Hi, Kareem.
Your stage movement, I usually don't like movement a lot, but you flow kind of evenly. There's not a lot of back and forth with your stage presence, so it's easy for me to follow you. You're not doing a bunch of that. It's kind of like you're flowing in one direction, you pause, and you flow in another direction. So I appreciate your stage presence and just your storytelling also. Thank you.
There's very intentional movement, and you'll see it more in the next segment. I move with purpose to match the story flow. If the story's fast and frenetic, I move fast and frenetic. If it's slow, then it's an easy kind of pace. So.
Hi, I appreciate the pause. You've given me time to think and reflect, and also given us time to ask you questions.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Susan. All right. Any more questions on this module? I'm going to wrap it up. Let me give you the 3 things I wanted to make sure that you knew about having an impactful opening in your presentations. Okay? Okay, your first line, right? Your first line. I almost failed flight school, right? Your first line is super important, right? Again, just like the introduction sets up your first line. How is your first line opening? Is it crisp? Is it clean? Is it clear? Is it convey what you want to convey? okay? Please, we'll just say please. Do not walk up, you have your introduction, walk up and pause and say, thank you so much for having me here today. You start with a story. That's my next point. Always start with a story. And then in the second half, I'm going to talk about beads on the necklace, right? Your introduction is the opener, their opening story. If you need to do housekeeping items, occasionally an event will say to me, oh, can you plug our hashtag and some social media things on there? I'm like, I can. First of all, I need 5 more minutes. I negotiate more time on the schedule, okay? I need 5 more minutes. And the other thing I'll do is I'll do it after this opening. I'll say, okay, while we're at this stopping point, acknowledging, right? Here's a couple housekeeping items that the event planner wants me to share. Like use this hashtag, make sure you do fun. In fact, let's just do a selfie right now. Right? I'll do something to kind of make it about the event and how I'm supporting the event and a partner of the event, right? But I'm not going to do that first because who's in charge and in command of the energy of the room? The speaker is, right? That would be you when you're on stage. So it's very important that you be aware of that if they ask you to do anything extra or special. And the last one over here, she said it over here, thank you. Is be unpredictable. Like, do you know where I'm gonna move or what facial expression I'm gonna make next? No, does it make you like afraid to take your eyes away? You don't wanna miss something, right? So you can be if you're too predictable, right? Then they start leaning back, not leaning in to your stories and what you're sharing. So don't be afraid. You're going to see a super really clear on this in the second half of how you can take something that is predictable and twist it into something that's unpredictable. Shamika, Ruth, and then we're going to close up this part.
In regards to impactful opening, if part of your brand, like for myself, I'm a spoken word artist and poet. So I usually don't start with a story. I start with like a poem dependent on, is that okay as well?
That's your brand. Yeah, that's who you are. So yeah. Starting with, a nice alliteration, a poem flow, a haiku, whatever it is you do, right? So notice I just rhymed to you. Start with, whatever feels good, and then you can go into the story, right? So that, to me, it would be part of your opening, and it's on brand for you, right? It has to work for you, right? Over here, Ruth, and then I'm turn it back over to Casey. I'm tracking with you.
Can you talk about the timing of your story? Because it felt like it was taking a long time, but it probably was shorter than works. So, like 3 minutes. I mean, can you give us some ideas?
Yeah, so most of mine are 5 to 6 minutes, I would say. So a few are 3, and I can pull out. It depends. I can go deeper into the lesson if it's like a training mode or they give me more time. Like, it's all very fluid and modular. In fact, in the second half, I'm going to give you a story inventory sheet and my example so you can see how I time everything. So you're going to get that. All right. Did I answer a few questions this morning so far? Or I guess we're afternoon. Then the first half, there we go. First half so far. Has this been helpful so far? Yes. Kind of peel back the curtain of what happens with all that. So if you've received a slip, you can come and get your book. Don't worry, if you haven't gotten yours, you can get yours. You'll get a slip and get yours afterwards. The second half of after the break, those who have not gotten a slip are going to be priority to answer their questions or make a comment, though. Okay, fair enough? All right.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
So wonderful. So before we bring Elizabeth back on, I did ask you before the networking break, what did I ask you to do? To meet someone you didn't speak with before, and what else? Besides that, yes, Chris? You had a little mini assignment. What did you learn from the speaker? So I'd like to now... Shh, quiet. Thank you. I'd like to now hear from 3 of you. One thing that you learned, give me the X/Twitter version, okay? Not the Facebook post. All right, so that means brevity is king or queen. Glenn, what'd you learn?
Other people think Melanie Fox is great.
Well, we know Melanie Fox is great. Yes, she is. She's awesome. All right? Yes, please. She's the calm authority. Say it again? Calm authority. So tell me a little more about that. Kind of where does that show up? The calm authority. Oh, in speaking. So, uh-huh. I can't remember all that. So what she said was, it's about being the calm authority when you're speaking, and I guess just holding that space, right? Okay, one more. What's something that someone learned? Yes, Stacy. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Welcome, Nathan.
Because he's an international speaker, so now he's an international airport.
Wow. Well, that's very helpful because if you want to travel, you have to be near the airport, right? All right, speakers. So are we, I know. Are we ready to buckle in? Are we ready for part 2? All right. Then NSANYC, help me bring back onto the stage Elizabeth McCormick.
Okay, so we're going to try to get three modules and a teach into this part. So we're going to go a little faster. So I will ask for the comment part. If you don't have a slip yet and didn't get your book yet, make sure that you're raising your hand and get yours. Okay, and if you already have yours, unless it really adds something, like please hold off so I can get through the teach. Fair enough? Yes. All right. Okay, so we're going to start right in. Okay. So I left off, right, with being at the flight line, being in the potential zone, not a comfort zone. So we're going to go to the next part. So the next step in my journey was going to the recruiting station. Now, do we have any military veterans in the house? Please raise your hands high and proud. I like to honor other veterans. Okay, and if do we have anyone who has had any member of their family serve in any military worldwide? Oh, wow, look around the room now. Let's give a round of applause for families, please. Families serve too. So if there were any other veterans, they would know, but I'm going to let you in on the secret that all the veterans know. Because when you go to a recruiting station and you open the door to walk into the recruiting station, the fresh air you let in activates their saliva glands. They get really excited when somebody comes to them, don't they? It's not the fresh air. And when I walked in, this is what the recruiter did. Oh, 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 oh. We have openings for a cook today. Was I not just working in a pizza place? A cook. I looked at him and said, no, 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 no. I want to go warrant officer flight training program. And what do you think he said? You can't do that. Now, when you're in your potential zone and you believe something is possible, are you going to be met with resistance? Yes. Other people aren't going to believe what you believe. Other people aren't going to see what you see. My dad said you can't make a living as a professional speaker, right? You don't have to believe what they believe. You get to pick. So when you're faced with resistance, I want you to question with curiosity, not attitude. I want you to be more curious, to ask more questions, and to find out what's really going on. So when I looked at the recruiter, I said, why not? Why not? What is standing in my way? I needed to know. And he said, well, you need perfect eyesight. I have that. Why not? Well, you need perfect physical condition. I used to have that. I was a lot younger then. Why not? Well. You need a college degree. Say it with me. I almost have. Why not? And he says, you need leadership. I said, you know what? I have that too. Why not? Well, because, You can say it with me. It's fun. And I asked him, what did I ask him up on the screen? Why not? And he said, what do you think he said? Oh, how many of you think it was gender bias? Okay, gentlemen, you will not get in trouble for raising your hand on this one, okay? How many of you think it was gender bias? Let me see you. Come on. Yeah. Here's what he said. I don't know how to do that paperwork. It was a training issue. He didn't know how to do his own job. But what would have happened if I'd walked into the recruiting station and I had believed him instead of me? Would I have become a helicopter pilot? Would I now be hugely humbled, honored, and thrilled to have been named number 11 of the top 30 motivational speakers in the world by global gurus? No. And would I be here today? No. Probably not, right? My entire future changed because I was willing to believe in myself, my abilities, my potential zone, more than someone else's lack of belief. You get to choose what you believe. So let me tell you what I did in the recruiting office. I sat in his office, I read the regulations, and I did his paperwork for him. Thank you. I did his job. Because when it really comes down to it, and I want you to hear me on this. When it really comes down to it, it is you and you in the mirror in the morning, is that your future is your responsibility. Your future is up to you. Your future is determined by you, how you show up, what you do, what you don't do, what you choose every single day. And the fact is there is no autopilot in any of that, is there? No. Okay, that's not a trick question, right? Is there autopilot in your life? Oh, that's what you know. Let's try that again. You do remember that maximum participation point earlier, right? Is there autopilot in your life? No. Is there autopilot as a professional speaker wanting to get business and get booked? No. Right? Is there autopilot in your future and your legacy? No. You are the pilot in command of you every single day. There's no autopilot. You have to decide who you are and how you show up. Pause. Any interaction in that one? Just a little bit. So this was an engagement piece, and then there's a second engagement piece I'm going to show you next. So because they're different styles of engagement. What did you see? Okay, I'm coming around. I'm keeping John working hard today.
I was really impressed by whenever you did the slide transition. You were saying, and I was captivated by you, and then I saw the slide happen, and it was exactly what you were about to say. It was just so smooth, and it was supporting what you were saying visually, including the sound that I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely. Your slides, I call our slides our visual backdrop. They should be a visual backdrop to what you say. Now, if I'm doing a half-day training, I'm going to do more content, right, and builds. But for keynote, if you have slides at all, and I know some people don't, but for keynote, your slides are a visual backdrop. I want you to think about that differently, right, to support what you say. I'm going to squeeze in here. Excuse me. Hi.
Goody. Hi. I was mesmerized, and I am not a motivational speaker. So I was like, oh, that's a motivational. I was being part of your audience rather than being kind of macro about it and feeling like just buckle up and do this thing, which is nighttime design, transforming the night for everyone, which nobody even knows about yet.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you.
Get your book after.
I noticed a couple of things. The first is when you wanted the audience to engage, you really gestured with your whole body. And I also loved how when you had a point that you wanted everyone to hear, you said, I really want you to hear this. And you spoke with a lot more authority. So those points that were meant for the audience really landed.
Excellent. I'm coming to the back row. Here you go.
Hello, thank you. So I'm just enjoying how much attention and effort and thought goes into everything that you're doing, and that it's a difference between being a casual speaker or a public speaker and a professional speaker. And the amount of time and dedication to the craft is really enjoyable to see, because a lot of people don't put this much effort in. So just, I'm walking away with like, put in more effort here and take some of these pieces, but it's nice to see that in action.
When I first started, I knew this is what I wanted to do, right? I spoke for 163 Rotary clubs in 18 months. Rehearsals. And on top of that, I practiced in front of the mirror every morning when I woke up and every night before I went to bed. I started with the 25 minute that Rotary needed, and those parts are now part of my open and my close. Okay? They're polished. I've tried different things. I would only change one little thing. I would record the audience, not me. I wanted to hear if they laughed, if they liked it, if they'd gasped, what their response was. And I re-listened to those recordings on the way home every day. So I treated it like a job. Okay? I'm coming.
My question is actually really related to that, because I agree you could clearly do this in your sleep. Thank you, and all the techniques, right? But you also, in addition to having all of the outside strategy, you're clearly deeply connected to what you're speaking to. So doing this so often, how do you generate that and retain that over and over and over?
That is a great question. So yes, I have done paid 2,000, who knows how many unpaid practice ones, plus rehearsals and in my own home practicing different facial expressions and vocal variety and everything. It's your first time. That's what I connect to. So it's the audience's first time. Just because it's not my first time doesn't mean I focus on your experience and you, not me. Because here's the thing. Your speech, the stories are the tools, but your speech, your presentation is not about you. Your speech is about the audience experience and how you move them through your perspective or your engagement or your interaction. And if you frame everything like that, if you start it from that, doesn't it shift? Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything over here? Pam?
Oh.
Ken? You can come back. I'll come back later if you want. I'll come back later. Ken, anything? You come back later? Trying to make sure I get everybody. Okay, I got two more sets. Okay. All right. Hi, Sharon. I'll give you that.
So it's not a question as much as an observation, but it's building on what Courtney said, your intentionality in everything you do. That was so well thought out, but coupled with your authenticity. I think that's what really makes you a unique speaker, because it's rare that you get to see both of them working in tandem. So I'm just sitting here taking notes after notes because it's mesmerizing. So thank you for that.
Oh, Pam says I got one now. All right, Pam.
I have it. Well, as a matter of fact, it was that I was deep in thought and you came over all of a sudden and said, Pam. And that's the first time I've had anybody do that, which is very intentional. So I appreciated that. I was curious also about, do you do that normally? Or?
So like in a keynote, I wouldn't necessarily do all this facilitation, right? But in a facilitation or a half-day workshop or sometimes I'll merge the parts of the keynote with facilitation and workshop mode and mix it, right? Just to shift the energy and keep things moving. So, but yeah, I may or may not reward every single person with a book, but I do reward participation. I do walk through the audience. If I see somebody sleepy, I'll come and stand by them. I know, I'm not saying you were sleeping, Pam, but I might, like, if they have a table and I see their, like, eyes are drifting or getting sleepy, because I volunteer for the after lunch spot, y'all. I love the after lunch spot. I love the after lunch spot. Like, I will take it all day long. 2 reasons. Number 1, I know I can carry their energy. Okay, I can get them through it. Actually, 3 reasons. Number 2 is I'm now a solution for their event because nobody else wants it. Okay, so I'm a solution. Number 3 is I am not a morning person. I am not a morning person. Please do not give me a 7 a.m. sound check with an 8 a.m. speech. Like, I can do it. I'll do it. No problem. I'll do it. But it's not my favorite because I'm not a morning person. So, okay, so I do that. All right. That's right. Death Valley. I love that. All right, Tommy.
Yes. I love how you never settle for the interaction. If the interaction is not where you want it, you not push is not the right word, but you lead it out of them. My question is,
I pull it.
There you go. You don't push it, you pull it. My question is there ever a point where you say, where you don't continue to pull, or
engineers, accountants, like, you get anything, it's like, thank you for the scraps. Like, I mean, you have to know your audience, right? You have to know, like, are you going to get more from them? Are you going to get better from them, right? So knowing your audience is the best thing there. So, and sometimes if you push it once and they don't respond, don't push it again. Like, don't try to do that again. That didn't work. Not doing that, right? Try something different, right? Coming back to you. Hi, Maura.
So what I loved about all the different interactive things there was you really did like at least 5 that I could count. And, the mantra was the one that I liked the best, which was when you said, you don't have to believe what they believe, but then you came back to it later and said, you can believe, I think you said, you can believe what you want to believe. Or that, as soon as I heard you say that the first time, I was like, oh, that's a mantra. That's the thing I want to write down. But at the same time, you're like body polling and doing everything else in the mix and doing call and response and repeating the same phrase over. It's very rhythmic. It just flowed really beautifully. So I was trying to notice all of them. So
Awesome. There we go. All right, I'm coming up here. I'm going to squeeze through here. Valeria, I got you on my radar too. Hi.
I just want to say I'm a groupie. I've been stalking you for a while, and I was so excited to hear that you were the speaker today. So I just want to tell you that. But what I loved, and you alluded to it a little bit over there, is that every story you wove into making it feel like it was about me or us as the audience. And it was never self-serving. Like, it always came back to making me contemplate or me thinking about how it relates to me or how I could use what your lesson was. And you did it seamlessly every time with every story. So that was very impressive.
Thank you. I want to add in there too that, again, your stories aren't about you. I can't even tell you that enough. Relatability, so you can get booked for a story-based speech that's just your story, right? But you're probably not going to get referred. Okay? Because they're not taking it deeper into what they do and find, you're like leaving it to chance that they're going to relate it to their lives or their business or the company or anything. Okay? So, Shamika.
I really appreciate your use of repetition. When you said, why not? You had this slide that said no, and then it evolved into why not, but you added another story and then you continued, but it continued and built on why not. Yes.
Rappers in that. All right, anything? Yes, hi. Here, I'll give you that first.
Hi, I'm Sandy. I didn't wear my tag. But what I appreciate, because I know you have these slides and your presence, is that I wasn't even paying attention really to the slides. I was paying attention to your authenticity and your origin story and understanding that it is definitely the audience that allows you to, you know the audience and you know where you want to go with them. And I know that you learned this audience, and I can feel that you chose the right way to present to us your origin story. So those slides, I wasn't even noticing. I just wanted to tell you.
Visual backdrop, right? That's all it is, right? All it is. All right, I'm coming around. We've got time for 2 more, and then I'm going to get into the next module because I want you to see how you can go deeper in an experience. Oh, okay. We'll see how this goes. Okay. Got an error report. Did you have something? You want to get the next one? Next one. All right. All right. Over here. Young me?
What I'm really noticing is that how emotional and adorational the audience is towards you. It's remarkable. You really have everybody lapping out of your hands. It's just, I have never seen an audience just consistently have this level of, engagement and just, I don't know, they're all kind of magnetized towards you in some ways. So.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Question? So the follow-up question is, how did you do that was it the engineers that you?
Oh yeah, the engineers yesterday. I added a little bit more math in there. So talk about like 1 degree of change here is, have some other things. So you have to, again, talk their language. It's tailored a little bit. But I still tell a lot of the same stories, right? But how it's going to land for them is a lot of them come up afterwards and are like, I wish my daughter had seen this. I'm going to help be a better advocate for my daughter and not let her say no as much. I'm going to, so it ends up being they're relating it to other people in their lives or their employees that work for them. I had one guy come up and buy a book for every single person on his team, right? So, which were mostly female, but they find a way to relate to the story that way. I have a lot of them say, you're like the girl next door. Like everybody likes and relates to. And I was like, well, not everybody, but thank you. Right? So you just have to find kind of your thing with that. But it comes from the vulnerability, not like big shining. Have I told any success stories yet? No. Owen, Mike, anything yet? Or next spot? Next spot. Got you. All right. Pat, one last thing.
What I really appreciate is the fact that you didn't tell a very long story, but you told a very strategic story. And I think that's a super valuable takeaway because you didn't drone on and on. It was very concise.
Excellent. Oh, I'm moving fast then. Okay. Let's see. So this was an engagement piece. So did I engage with vocal, getting you to repeat things back and everything? Visually, did I engage with you visually, right? And then circular, did I come back and circle this background? What's the name? The name of my keynote is You in the Pilot Seat. Did I tie this all into you're in the pilot seat? There's no autopilot. You're the pilot in command of you, right? So even though it's a middle of the story, middle of the keynote story, I'm already tying it into the keynote thread, right? So they're not sitting there halfway through going, how's this tie into, what am I doing, right? You don't want questions. You want them to keep moving forward. All right, ready for the next segment? This is the one I'm famous for, okay? This is the last one I'm gonna do. This is the one I'm famous for. So I'm gonna shorten it a little bit just to make sure we have time for everything, just so you know. Okay, so in order for you to understand what flight school is like, because remember I almost failed flight school at the beginning, in order for you to understand what flight school is like, I need to teach you how to fly a helicopter. Okay, so if you'll follow along, you're gonna need your both hands and both feet. So go ahead and set things on the floor if you need to. If the tables were off like rounds, I would have them turn their chairs so we're all facing the same direction, okay? All right, with your right hand, you're on what's called the cyclic. The cyclic is a stick. It goes down into the floorboard, up into the rotor system, and it controls the pitch of the rotor blades. So right now, I want you to take your right hand, stick it straight out in front of you like this if you're able. Okay, this is where your cyclic would be. From this moment on, you are on the controls. There's no autopilot. Don't let go. Okay, so if you wanted to move forward, this is your direction. If you wanted to move forward, you're gonna push it and lean forward. Yep, you're flying. Now, as a room, we're all going to go the same direction. We're going to go this way. Everyone push and lean this way. Yep, you're flying. And if you wanted to go the opposite direction, where would you go? Yeah. And if you wanted to go back, where do you think you would go? Whoa, 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 there's a tail back there. You pull it too far back and hit your tail? That's bad. Don't hit your tail. Now, that's just with your right hand. Some of you have let go and crashed the helicopter. All right, you're going to keep your right arm, your right hand on the cyclic. At the same time, your left arm, I want you to imagine your elbow is pinned to the floorboard. All you can move is the front part of your hand. It's a lever off the floorboard. The higher you pull it, the more airspeed you get. The higher you pull it, the more altitude you get. And if you pull it really high, you get both airspeed and altitude. So let's pull some power. Yeah, we like that, right? But here's what happens. Even though I'm flying straight like this, as I pull power, it puts power in the tail rotor in the back. So even though I'm flying straight, as I pull power, the tail kicks out like this. So I am flying straight with my tail off to the side. Is this aerodynamic? Sorry. Is this aerodynamic? No. So if you're able, with both feet, you're going to push on foot pedals. The foot pedals control the pitch of the tail rotor blade and get your tail behind you where it belongs. It's called getting the aircraft in trim. So cyclic, collective, trim. Try all that at the same time. But wait, there's more. Because you also have a center console of avionic and navigation equipment to tell you who to talk to and where to go. And while you're monitoring all that, you have 4 feet of instrument panel that looks like this, that you're scanning to make sure you stay in system limits. Because even though we are in the air, there are speed limits. Did you know there's speed limits in the air? Yeah, there's just no signs. You have to have every single limit on every single gauge memorized. And while you're monitoring all that, you've got 4 feet of windshields in the front that you're scanning. You're scanning through your front window. You've got a door window to one side or the other. You've got what's called a chin bubble window down here at your feet. In fact, right now, I want you to look down at your toes. Because when you lose your engine, that's where you're gonna go. There is no glide in a helicopter. You're going straight down. So it's really important that you don't hit a tree or a power line. Those are bad. Don't hit those all at the same time. But wait, there's more. Because while you're still doing all of that, you have a helmet on, and with your helmet, you have a microphone, and with your microphone, you're talking internally to your crew and externally to air traffic control, all at the same time. Some of you look tired. I have the controls. Give yourself a round of applause for flying a helicopter. Okay, so I can go deeper into teaching and different points off this one, but that's the gist of it. Let me see. I'll go to the kind of close. I talk about the flight hovering and how the flight instructor, because of gender bias, tried to fail me, and I almost failed. And talk about hovering some more with bumblebees. And, I had the flight instructor who taught me for speed. I'm going to spoil it, but I had a flight instructor who tried to fail me by teaching me wrong. Yeah, blatant. And I went and asked for an instructor change, denied. It was what it was. I was in when less than 1% of all the pilots were women. Right? So it is what it is. And I had to just keep showing up with the best I could. So the lesson I have, though, at the very last week, a substitute instructor came in and taught me. A substitute. And he came in and taught me. But it was ugly. And it was the ugly pass at the check ride, the final exam. Because practice makes? Yeah. So what I teach is practice. Somebody said it. Practice makes permanent. How you practice determines how you perform. How you practice determines how you show up. How you live in your life. How you practice your speech. Everything you do today builds your tomorrow. Because practice makes permanent. Shift of thinking. So I want you to be more deliberate, more intentional, and more focused. focused on the things that you do, because everything you do has an impact and influence on something and someone else. Last time, practice makes pause. Okay, so that's the piece that honestly, like that's in the middle of the speech. Like to me, the signature story was almost crashing the helicopter I tell at the end. This is the piece that gets me booked, rebooked, referred. Okay? Because I create a rapport building shared experience that the audience can talk about for days, weeks, months, and years after. Oh, well, we'll let you say it. So here we go. All right. Cherry.
You created new information for me to learn that I suddenly know this person because they know that information. So, I mean, that shared experience is essential at the end. It's what they talk about for the rest of the day at work. And then they meet coworkers or they connect with coworkers in ways that they didn't before, which makes even more of an impact and why they want you back. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, those who have not gotten a slip, you get a chance. Valeria.
Two things that I observed. Number one, in the years that I've been a member, I never ever saw this level of engagement from us. So thank you. And the second part that gets me thinking is by you involving the audience in this way, you are getting feedback for you and for your content.
Oh, I can instantly tell whether they're with me or not. I can instantly tell.
Live testimonials of the work that you do. That's, yeah. Thank you.
All right, who else? Ken?
So, thank you. That bit of engagement, right, and using the whole body and getting folks to put down the notebook, put down the pen or the computer, whatever, the phone, right? That level of engagement, particularly if you're saying that's coming in the middle, right? What a brilliant place to just kind of get people moving around, because I think that's one of the problems where you get sit in our seats and you start to fade, right? It's a relaxing place to be. So that movement and that whole body activity was really lovely.
All right, you two. You're on the spot.
So with the two of us, you called us out. No. Right? And I know for me, I don't know about Owen because he's a different character, but automatically it was like, I've got to engage more. And I did. So sometimes you got to call folks out in your audience, and you did.
All right.
Especially Owen.
All right. Especially Owen. Hi, Owen.
Hi, how are you? Quick question for you. You've got obviously an array of fascinating stories from your journey. And for me, one of the things that I would struggle with that level of stories is how do you select the best ones? Because obviously when you're flying, this kind of aircraft in the kind of high pressure situations you're in, you must have incredible experiences and stories. How do you select down from all of that and decide, right, out of everything I could do in the 60 or 90 minutes that I have with these people, these are the ones I'm going to bring to the table?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I got another slip up there. I'll make sure you get one. And Roz, I see you. I remember meeting you, I think it was last May, when I came here to visit. I'm coming back to you. I'm giving you a second because I'm out of slips. I got a few more minutes, right, Casey? I still have one thing to teach. 7, excellent. I got plenty of time. Roz and then...
So I think just making the presentation more about the audience and less about you and what you have to say, but letting the audience actually almost like be the presentation, I think it's been very helpful.
Excellent. You have anything?
I just can't believe that you talked about the recruiters like that.
It's fun. I've actually told that speech at a recruiting command event, and they laugh. They laugh because they're like, yep, we love it when somebody comes to us. So, all right. Anyone else we missed? I'll make sure I got everyone. Peggy, you have something to add? Real quick.
I love your focus on practice. That sounds like such a simple concept, but practice and rehearsal is amazing. I've listened to lots of interviews. Beyonce and Taylor Swift both said 75% of their success is that they rehearse more than all artists out there. And they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until they becomes like normal. So I just wanted to do that. And most people think of practice as like, well, of course I'm going to practice, but it's really, really an important ingredient.
Absolutely. And I watch my own, y'all, I watch my own video. I watch all my own video and listen to the video, listen to the sound and audio files separately from that. You're on the spot. Do you have anything you want to add?
I mean, you're just incredible. And my favorite part is your desire to get everybody else moving in their seats, whether it's physical or emotional, and you're not willing to take no, right?
If they don't participate, like, to me, that's on them, not me.
One thing, you have them repeat it 2 more times, right? So I can see the power of 3 happening there.
Total power of 3 thing. The other thing, did anybody notice? Okay, Ruth, real quick.
Yes, I have a question. Who or what in your childhood triggered this determination? I'm very curious.
I was the oldest girl with a dad who owned a construction company. So I grew up around construction sites. I didn't get anything from you. Do you have anything you want to add, Natalia?
Somebody already mentioned what I wanted. Yeah, but thank you so much. It was actually what I'm feeling right now is that I know that it's not what you wanted me to feel, that I probably will never be that good. That's one of the main feelings that I have right now, because I'm not even sure that I can rehearse this way. I can put so much effort. I always dreamt that it could be much easier, and now it looks like it's not. But thank you. I have a lot to think about.
Okay, 20 years. I want you to hear me. 20 years I've been doing this. Okay, and before that, I did presentations for the Army at schools and air shows and things like that. So where you are today is going to be different than in 20 years. Okay, focus on the things you can do today. Yeah. For my keynotes, do I always come out in the audience? Typically, I walk through at the beginning, and then there's usually a stage. I'll come up on the stage, and then I come out through the audience for a closing story about almost crashing the helicopter. Not this deeply. No, I mean, it depends. If it's a smaller group and there's no stage and I can just walk out, sure. But if a lot of times there's not, like it's a big stage and I'm up higher and there's stairs and everything. No, virtual, other than I charge more, because I don't want to do it. So, and it's amazing, they pay. I'm like, all right. So, and virtual, I get them, I have them put their hand, like I make them turn their camera on, and I make them put their hand like towards the camera, and then do this, and do all that. So, I have a stand-up desk, all that. Pam, and then, real quick. Oh, I don't do Q&A. I am a military speaker in a highly politicized, charged environment. I do not do Q&A. They tell me I have an event coming up a week from Tuesday, like, oh, we've got 45 minutes and 15 minutes of Q&A. I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I will not do Q&A. No matter what if someone asks something political, no matter what I answer, I've lost the room. So that is my job. Whose job is it to maintain the energy and command the audience? Right? So, no, don't do it. I said what I say instead is I will be happy to stay after, take pictures, sign books if they're doing books, and I will answer any question, and it's in my outroduction we're about to do. I will answer any question they have afterwards. So, and do it that way. Okay, last one. I'm going to repeat it. Yeah, so sometimes your story, her topic's disease prevention, and that. So how much of her should she put into that, right? Like if I was presenting at that topic, how much would I put in? Right. What is it that you do for you that brings you that energy? Yeah. Just some of it's wiring, some of it's nutrition, right? I don't drink coffee. I don't do caffeine, so I don't want the highs and the lows, right? So I do an energy powder. I take vitamins, just self-care. So it's important how we show up. So the middle, like real quick, create an experience, simple frameworks they can remember. They're sticky, right? That they can do, and then call back to the opening, right? Did I kind of swing it all the way back to you're in the pilot seat and actually put you in the pilot seat? So I really have these three. I really want you to think about how can you create a better experience for your audiences. Meeting planners are hiring and engaging, and they want experiences, interaction, and engagement. So those are the most, no matter what your topic, no matter what your industry, those are the three things they are screaming for right now. So how can you do better on that? What is your helicopter experience that you can create around one of your stories or your industry? Okay. Necklace theory, I mentioned it earlier, open and close. My open and close are always the same no matter what speech, what presentation, whatever. So think of it like a necklace. It has a clasp and a close, right? So always the same, and then what changes is which beads and which stories I put around. So I think that answers, and your question about the different stories. I pull those in based on what the client wants. So I have customer service stories. I have critical thinking stories. I have decision-making stories. I have this huge story inventory, which I'm going to give to you as you leave. I have a story inventory sheet, and to help you with this, on the one side it's blank, so you can use it, and on the resource page you're going to get it as an Excel. This is how I keep track of my stories and decide. And on the flip side is an example of how I use this that shows I keep track of how much time that each story is. So when a client asks for something in 35 minutes, I can pull this out with a spreadsheet, do a filter based on the audience, and decide. So it's very geeky. Okay, I know. I have a mathematics degree, y'all. So, but if you need that, if you need more, like I don't like a mind map, I like a spreadsheet, I like it linear, this will help you, and you're going to get this Excel. Okay, so I'm going to leave these up here for you to get afterwards. That's what that slide is. And the closing. Okay, Casey, closing. Okay, so I'm going to tell my first part, and then she's coming up as soon as I'm done. Did I teach you how to fly today? Yes. Well, what fly really means is to first lead yourself. Because when you lead yourself, others will follow. When you lead yourself, others will want to be a part of who you are and what you bring. And when you fly, you will soar. It was an honor and pleasure to be with you today and to have served our country. I'm Elizabeth McCormick, Black Hawk pilot speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. And because the learning never ends with Elizabeth, now hear Elizabeth's outroduction she provides to be read from the stage to prevent that awkward transition. So your event's MC will love that you provide this. Now, note that this is an example. Although she has her back of the room set up for you to get ideas from, she has no attachment to selling anything today. So wasn't Elizabeth great? My favorite part, I love the resources, the tangible take-homes, so that after I leave, I know what to do. Thank you. It's such an honor to have Elizabeth here with us, and now you can take her home with you as well.
Wait, that's not part of the contract. No.
Well, through her best-selling book, The Pilot Method, and her other 19 business books, go see Elizabeth at her table to ask her a question, get a picture with her, or purchase her autographed books. So let's give another round of applause to thank Elizabeth McCormick for her service and teaching us how to fly today.
Isn't that fun?
That's outstanding. Yay.
How many of you have an outroduction? Are you leaving it to chance what the MC or someone's going to say? Outroduction. buy the book. Everybody, surprise, Oprah moment, everybody gets a book. And the last one is no book sales. Wasn't she great today? So 3 simple introductions that you can help for the transition for an event.
Thank you. Sit down. We ain't done. I ain't done with you yet. Okay, just a few more minutes and then I turn you loose to some nice networking. We do want to talk about what this amazing chapter has to offer. I will tell you all something that's a little known fact. I served on the NSA National Board for 5 years, right? Do you know that NSA National, when they want ideas, where do you think they go? NSANYC, exactly. So these are some of the outstanding programs that we offer. We've got Robin Hatcher. Robin, raise your hand. Robin does a virtual mastermind. This is where you come if you're grappling with an issue or a question. Get on these calls, folks. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and you will leave with answers to your questions. We also, who knows Cricket Harrison? Yes, Cricket is amazing. So we are going to have a virtual master class where Cricket is going to go over killer one-sheets. Who's got a killer one-sheet? I know mine needs some help. So make sure that you are on this call so that you can learn from an expert so that your one sheet sings and you get booked. We are also recruiting for our board of directors for this chapter. Who wouldn't want to sit on this board, right? So snap the QR code, follow the instructions, get on the board. That's right, especially if you're good at math. All right? I can't wait because we've got to go. All right, so Phil M. Jones. The Phil M. Jones retreat is coming up. I met Jasmine there last year. Robin was in the room. Phenomenal experience with other speakers where Phil is, I would have to say that he's a genius when it comes to marketing. It's an opportunity to get your business seen by Phil. And I'm going to let him tell you about it himself. So that's Phil M. Jones. Here's the QR code. Snap the tag if you're interested. And this is not for brand new speakers.
Yes, I'm going to say one more thing about this because when we first spoke with Phil about this year, we were thinking that it was going to be a one-day mastermind with a happy hour and a dinner the night before. And that's how we priced it. And it's actually going to be a 2-day, so 2 full days. And he's amazing. Who's done the Phil Jones retreat before? So if you are thinking about going, yes, Jasmine, talk to somebody in the room who's been to get their take. But it's going to be an amazing event for much less than we probably should have priced it for this year. So keep that in mind, and we hope to see you there.
And what else do I have to share with you? What's next? Kate, would you like to talk about the storytelling competition and pitch deck improv? We're going to bring Kate back up so she can talk to us about this.
Well, we have, first of all, we're going to go forward for a second. None of them are here, but we're going to celebrate them real quick because we had a storytelling competition. We had 13 people enter, and we had 3 top competitors. Now, folks, last year, one's here? Oh, there you are. You weren't going to be here, and then you came. You messed me up. Last year, our chapter member won the national competition. So no pressure, but you have to, but you must crush it or else. Here are our top 3 winners, Caroline Valentino, Paya Mehta, and Sheila Neisler. So we're very excited the March meeting is everyone's favorite meeting every single year. And we started doing it this way a couple of years ago when Robin was the president. So Robin got us started off on this process. The first half of our meeting will be the storytelling competition. We'll have the 3 stories compete. There will be a voting process. We will choose a winner. We will celebrate them. The second half of the meeting, we do pitch deck karaoke. Pitch deck improv. You will not be singing, but what you will be doing, we will put up
a pitch deck of random pictures on random slides, and you will be given a topic and an audience from the audience, and you will have to speak for 2 minutes on, what is it, 3 slides? 2 slides? 3 slides for 2, you have 2 minutes, 3 slides, and you have got to say something compelling based on the pictures and the topic and the audience. And it is hysterical. It gives people a chance to stand up. If you want to participate in that part, you have to be a member of the chapter. Only members are allowed to get on stage. So if you want to participate in the beginning, we will be giving out tags. You'll write your name, we'll put them in a hat, we'll choose you from a hat, and you've got to be ready to go. It is an absolute blast. We laugh every year. It's something that really brings the chapter closer together and allows us to continue the celebratory feelings that we have after the storytelling competition. So that's next month. Don't miss it.
As a chapter, we also have a Toastmasters group. You do need to be an NSANYC member to be Toastmasters. It's a great place to go and hone your craft. You want to try out 3 minutes of your keynote? Great place to do that. And these are the benefits you get by being a member. Obviously, you cannot top or beat this monthly in-person chapter meeting. You guys can read this for yourselves. The QR code is here. If you're not a member, I encourage you to go to our website, check it out further, talk to us. You've been here today. You see what a meeting is like. You feel the camaraderie. You get an idea of what the learning is all about. I cannot tell you how great this is. I think I've been coming around here almost 10 years. 2 ways to become a member. You can either be billed monthly, $85, or if you want to go ahead and pay it all in one chunk, it's $925. We give you a month free when you pay annually. We could not also do this. We could never do this without our fabulous gentlemen who provide our visual assets, Kareem Wilder and John A. D'Amato. Give them a hand, please. Let's thank Scandinavia House for this wonderful, gorgeous space. Where can you find a space like this in Midtown New York City? You cannot. You cannot. You can't. And if you have questions, reach out. Now, I do also want to say we are celebrating our Speaker U graduates with some nice treats. Go ahead, help yourself to something good, something sweet. And you ate the good ones? Oh, be sure that you come in and... Be sure to come and hang out with us. That's what we do after this. We go to Take Care Bistro, which is at 38th and Lex. I am Casey Carpenter. I was your MC for the day. I hope that you had a fabulous time.